Gerald, okay, Gerald, we'll start with you. You can ask Coach Colzie a question. We'll go from there.
Hey, what's going on, Coach? Good evening.
Hey, Joe, how you doing, boss?
Doing good. I guess just starting us off by recapping the game, of course, the outcome that, of course, you don't want, but just talk about the game a little bit.
Well, you know, when you step up to an FBS opponent, right? I mean, you gotta try to match the energy. You gotta try to match the ability. You know, when you play a team like FAU, who's up tempo every single snap, you know, you throughout the week you try to make practice as chaotic as you can be, as it can be. And you know, I know at times we did some good things, but you know, when you play a team like that, as talented as they are, you know, you got to be able to cover sideline to sidelines. And you know, at times we did, at times we didn't. Defensively, offense, you know, just couldn't get any rhythm. You know, you guys saw the beginning of the game. You know, a couple bad snaps, a couple missed throws. So you know, it's just start off with that, and then anytime you get into a game like this, man, your special teams has to be strong, and then they block a punt and momentum shifts. You know, momentum shifts entirely. So you know, we had a bad first half. You know, I thought we played well the second half, put some points on the board. Offense got into a little bit of a rhythm, but you know, when you play a team like this, you got to be perfect from the beginning all the way to the end. And you know, we got down too much to try to put a dent into any of this. But you know, again, happy for the guys that played well, but you know, we got to be much better than we showed tonight.
Coach, you mentioned the second half there. Keep having fans up podcast, and you know, the question was definitely asked about quarterback, and so you know, you did a little something there, but you brought RJ back, and it seems like he showed a little growth there. Could you just kind of speak to some of the growth you saw in the second half from RJ, just some of the the passes, play calling, just some of what we saw during the game?
Well, sometimes it's better to watch. You know, we got him on the sidelines. You know, and Coach Hank and I were talking about it about the second and third series, and it was Hank said to me, Coach, you know, he's missing a couple throws, missing a couple reads, so you know, I thought it was the best opportunity to get Jet in there. You know, Jet's been working his tail off all week for this opportunity, you know. But then also RJ was able to watch a little bit, right, and you know, get back on the iPad and start looking at some things. So you know, he made some good throws, made some good reads. You know, you wish the rhythm would have been a little bit better earlier in the game than maybe in the third quarter. But you know, we hit some throws, we hit some touchdowns, and hopefully we can carry it over to next week.
Coach, how do you kind of have a clean slate reset after these first couple of weeks and move ahead to week 3?
Well, you know, you look at the schedule, right? You're hoping to be at least 1-1 before you get into week 3, right? But now, you know, you're sitting here at 0-2, and for the most part, we haven't played a complete game. You know, technically we didn't play a complete half, tonight. So you got to get back. You know, the guys are, they're a little worried, but you know, they do understand the task at hand. You know, the goals are still there. You know, the goal is to win the SWAC, but for us to win the SWAC, we're going to play a hell of a lot better. And that starts from next week against a very, very good Albany State team. Even though they're Division II, they're going to come in ready to play. They're going to see us a little wounded, so they're going to try to do everything they can to beat us. But I think just for us, try to get back to the basics. Continue to play hard. Make some adjustments. We got some guys that we're depending on right now that aren't playing very well. So do we stick with them, or do we move on, or just try to keep going? So but those are the things we got to answer tomorrow as we get to the film. But we had opportunities to make some plays, from our playmakers, and we didn't get them. So we got to either make some adjustments. I find better opportunities for them. So I just think give us a chance to get back, take a look, see where we're at, and then get ready for the next week.
I was going to say, I know you mentioned RJ a little bit earlier. How would you evaluate his play over the first couple of games, and do you plan on stick with him moving forward?
Well, I mean, we took him out after his last drive, right? Because for two reasons, we wanted him to finish with the rhythm. We thought he was playing well, making some really, really good throws, and then also giving Jet the opportunity to play some quarterback as well. So, we'll make that decision as we get later into the week. But it was great to see him, throw a couple touchdowns. It was great to see him. He made a key play on fourth down. So this is a guy who's trying to get his rhythm, as Jet's trying to get his rhythm as well. So I just think that for the most part, we got to get back, see what it looks like, and but got a chance to see him. Him throwing two touchdown passes, I think was key for him, and also key for our offense.
Could you guys come home for your next game? In spite of that, do you think it would, just being at home, would ignite a sense of urgency in the guys who, perform a little bit better than they have in the first two games?
Well, I mean, we go in there and we talk to the team after the game, and the guys looked at me right in my face and said, "Coach, we're not losing again." So, And I think they believe in what we're doing. They do know that we might have given away one last week, and then obviously you come this week, and you're playing an FBS opponent, who's high tempo, and they're a pretty good football team in their conference, right? So we can't take that for granted, right? I mean, they're a good football team that posts a lot of problems, not just for us, but who will post problems throughout the year. So again, we got to get back, take a look at what we saw. Obviously on the field it didn't look as well as we needed to, but when you look at that first half, man, we had an opportunity to make some plays and to finish some plays. We had a couple drops. We had one drop for a touchdown. So, again, we got some guys that we're depending on, and we're going to need more from them. And I told them that. I told them that tonight. I told them that last night when we met. But again, we got some guys that we're depending on, and we're going to need big plays from them. So either we keep on depending on them, or we got to find some other people to do some other things. So it was great to see Jordan Edwards, come up and get a touchdown for us late. It was great to see Jamar Taylor get a touchdown for us late. So we got to get guys that are going to finish plays, not just be out there, but finish plays.
Coach, can you talk about, after the first two games, like I said, it's not the result that you want. You don't want to start off 1-2, but now you kind of be able to move on, start off fresh a little bit, and be able to return home. How important is that to be able to have the team move forward and for a chance for y'all to get y'all first win at home of the 2025 season?
We don't have a choice. We have to, right? For us to get where we need to be, we got to win some games, right? We got to get our confidence back. Again, we're a little weary as far as for these first 2 weeks, and but it's important to get them back. It's important to just make some corrections, and again, we got to make some decisions on some guys to see where they're going to fit, because where we had them in the beginning, right? They're not necessarily getting we're not necessarily getting what we want. So we'll again have to go back, take a look, and make some decisions. And play some other guys, right? So we have some guys that we were depending on to make some huge plays for us, some huge strides for us, and right now we're not getting it. So again, it's either we stay with them and they show that they can do it, or we do have some other guys that can make some plays. So we'll have to make some decisions, some tough decisions when we get back for tomorrow.
Coach,
I got Brian's getting ready to go sick. I got you though. Brian's gonna go. He's been waiting patiently.
That's all good. I wanted to find out.
From this week's practice, are we likely to see that chart shake up that you're alluding?
Well, I gotta get back. I gotta get back and take a look. I think you may see some changes. Hopefully we got a couple of players back too. But I think again, I don't want to be irresponsible, right? I want to make sure we take a look at every single thing to see where it's at. I just think that's the best thing for us right now. Get back, correct, see where we're at offensively, defensively, special teams wise. But do we have to make some changes? I think so. What's the definition of insanity, right? They keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? So I think for us right now, get back, take a look, see where we're at, and then make some quality decisions. Because we got to win. We got to win this week. We understand that. I understand that. It's at home again. It's obviously against a very, very good Albany State team, but we're coming home finally. Home, get started for a home opener for us. It's going to be very, very important for us. That's a way for us to get a win, and we got to win. No question about it.
Coach, can you talk about the special teams punting and the formation? We had the one block, and then there was another one, a couple others that were real close to being blocked. The formation of that is a little unorthodox, a little untraditional. What are your thoughts on what that's looking like? How any adjustments that you're thinking of changing to that formation?
And that's a great question. I think when you get back and you take a look at how they blocked it, they definitely did a good job of scheming us up on that. So for myself and special teams coordinator, we're definitely going to reevaluate and take a look at that. Now we did make some changes after the fact, but on that first one, we had 5 protected, they sent 6. That's not good enough, right? And we put our center guy in a really, really tough situation. Coach West did a great job of adjusting, in the game, and put some rugby punts and things like that. But when you block one, right, teams are going to continue to come after you. So now we got to do some changes as far as reevaluating and just take a look at our scheme, take a look at our overall scheme, and then go from there. But hey, when you block one, when you get one up, they're going to keep coming at you. So it's our job to make sure we fix that.
And if I can let me get one last one about coming out of halftime. RJ, he had like 7 consecutive passes. He looked more comfortable. Everybody looked more comfortable coming out of halftime. Obviously, it led to a couple touchdowns. What was said in the locker room? What was the messaging? What was the attitude coming out of halftime?
Well, I know you got a locker room in there that was struggling a little bit, right? And I just wanted to reiterate to them, we got a very, very good football team. I've been here when we've been 0-2. I've been here when we've been 2-0. I've been here when we've been 1-1. And you know, we got a talented football team. I still think we got a very, very talented football team, but it's not putting it together right now. You know, again, you can't take away from what FAU is doing, man. Coach Kelly did a great job. They did a great job with recruiting. They have a great job schematically. And again, you have to cover these guys all game long, right? And so either you sit back and let the 6'6" guy just throw the ball all you want, or you go back and you try to pressure him, and then and they got a great group of receivers. So again, we had a work cut off for us this week, right? Playing against a very, very good football team who was also angry, who they had just gotten beat. So, but I think for us, right, we just got to get back to the basics, in my opinion. You know, just go back to what we feel is going to work. You know, but you know, we have some things that we need to make sure we address, and we'll start addressing those Sunday once we get a chance to look at everything.
Last question for me,
Right.
Coach. I noticed during the game you moved TJ Huggins a lot in coverage and things like that. Was that something that you saw as far as maybe he's your best corner, or was it just something where schematically it just lined up?
But that's how fast the damn offense is. I mean, he's our field corner, so they're running one play on one side, so we got to go to the field. And they run the other play to the other side, so then you got to go to the field. I mean, TJ's getting free. He's getting free conditioning, just trying to line up. But again, that's just part of the philosophy. That's part of whenever they get a first down or get a play, they're going to quickly line up. They're not going to change personnel, so you're kind of out there. So again, hats off to what they were doing. But TJ, he plays our field corner. That's the spot that Kendall Bowler played. That's the spot where either our all-conference or all-American is. And TJ did a good job tonight, but they ran us rapid. He ended up getting an IV, and so either that's our conditioning, or we just got to get TJ off some of these special teams because he's giving everything he can for us. So TJ did a great job, Amari did a great job, and but again, hats off for what FAU did. We just got to be better defensively, offensively, special team wise.
One more question, guys. All right, we're good. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, guys. What did you ask, Sinclair? You asked a question about practice. Did you ask that?
Yeah, but you answer.
Okay, all right. Appreciate you guys, man.